Hey everyone, this is the Black Manga Critic here with another video for the channel. Now basically things had gotten a little bit out of whack in terms of, just like personal life stuff. Just like school stuff that I had to sort of get sorted out, work stuff, things like that, right? So I'm pretty much going to be back. I'm going to be doing videos again. I'm going to get back to the schedule that I set up. So we're going to have Manga Mondays. I'm not really going to have watching Wednesdays unless someone suggests an anime to me. So that's pretty much going to be another manga day. Maybe that'll be like a streaming Wednesdays or something like that. I'm going to have my Fantastic Fridays where I do comic book reviews. So feel free to suggest those too. And I'm going to get back to, Dragon Ball Super Sundays. So I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super. You're going to see a video out sometime this week before the next episode that comes out. So you'll see a review of that. So I'm going to be catching up. I'm back. The Black Manga Critic is back. So enjoy all the content that's going to be coming out. So basically, this is going to be a review of The Promised Neverland Chapter 53. So I've been talking with a lot of YouTubers like Dustin Reacts, a whole bunch of people on his channel, One Vision, all these people on Twitter, stuff like that. And we've been talking about it, and this was a fantastic chapter. Like, if I had to pick 5 chapters in terms of like what were like the best Promised Neverland chapters, this would be a top 5 chapters for 2 reasons, right? The first reason is I think the art, there's something about this chapter that really made me realize just why I love Posuka's art so much. And the second reason is because I just love the scenario, right? Like, the scenario is like, this guy seems a little bit unhinged. He's been living by himself for a long time, and he's gonna kill some kids, right? Like, all of this is nuts, and I love it, and I want to see the scenario play out. So basically, this video is going to be me talking about those 2 things. I really want to see the scenario play out, and I really want to talk a little bit about why I love Posuka's art so much in this chapter, and why I think it makes it a top 5 chapter in a lot of ways. So the first thing that I really wanted to talk about is the art, and particularly the way in which Posuka showcases, just what the art is supposed to sort of portray and what this guy is supposed to sort of portray and sort of reflect in a lot of ways. And I think that, like, if we're looking at the way in which, Alice in Wonderland, right, is very much so a story that kind of juxtaposes genres. It juxtaposes, like, sort of horror, thriller kind of genre and the mystery genre with the whimsical, fantastic, and stuff like that. And so, like, there's a way in which this guy is very representative of that, right? Like, even like the way that like the sort of splash panel from the last chapter like just shows like there's there's a lot of sort of whimsy to the art, and when we get to this chapter we zoom in on that whimsy, right? We zoom in on like the sort of quirkiness of the guy, the whimsicalness of the guy, the way that he's sort of like whatever about a lot of things at first. He's drinking air tea, right? That's very much like a Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland sort of whimsical sort of thing to do, right? A fantastic sort of thing to do. So when you see something like that, it's like this guy, like maybe he's a little off the hinges, but I think it's a very whimsical thing. Like, he's a very whimsical kind of person. He's a very fantastic sort of person. In that we don't even necessarily know what he is, right? Like, even his identity is whimsical in the sense that like it's not pinned down. It's very sort of it's not tangible in a way, right? We don't necessarily really know who he is. We don't even really have a name, you know what I mean? So, we get a little bit of information, but it's not necessarily enough to like give him like a character, right? Like, we just kind of know a bit about his backstory. We're not necessarily sure if he's telling the truth. But back to sort of like the art, right? Like the little teacup, the way that his vest is too small for him. He looks like, it's like if you ever read Peter Pan, like, he looks like a lost boy that like grew up, but is still has like the lost boy kind of like mentality in some ways. Like, that's kind of what he reminds me of. Like, he's a very whimsical sort of character, but there's like, right, but then when we get to the second part of the chapter, it's like, whoa, shit just gets real. Shit gets like crazy and like really intense and like and thriller-esque, right? And like sort of like the the parts of sort of horror movies where like everything ramps up, the music gets intense, the camera gets kind of shaky, stuff like that, right? Like, things ramp up, and I think that like I just love the way that the art right, like tailors to the themes and what's going on in a particular part of the narrative and things of that nature. So again, kudos to Posuka. Posuka always manages to like do like wonderful, interesting things with the art. and impactful things, right? It's not like, Posuka's drawing something that's just, okay, I just drew this thing. It's like, no, like, the little things, right, have value and sort of act as, symbols and metaphors for particular things and genres and themes, and I love that. So, if we're gonna get into the second thing that I wanted to talk about, is the scenario. The scenario is awesome. I love it. I think it's super cool. I love the way that, like, it's very much so not shonen-y, right? It's like, we're sitting there and we're like, this has to be some sort of trick, right? This has to be some sort of game. Otherwise, they're in deep shit, right? And I love the fact that it's like one thing or the other thing, right? It's like either this guy, is William Minerva and he's fucking with us, or he's not William Minerva but he's still fucking with us, or he's not, William Minerva, and that he's really dangerous, and there are like bullets in that gun, and he like will blow Emma's brains out if Ray and the others try to fuck with him. Like, this is good shit, right? Like, clearly we know that they're not gonna die because it's a shonen, right? So things don't usually go that far in terms of like main cast, right? But what we do understand is that, like, this is a situation in which, like, shit's hit the fan. We don't, they don't particularly have much control over the situation, at the tail end of the chapter, right? So, this is what quality shonen manga does. Quality shonen manga says, here is a situation. Now, I'm gonna leave it to y'all readers to figure it out until the next chapter. And that way, right, we create like a great cliffhanger. It's an awesome cliffhanger. We don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. We can only really, really speculate, right? But if you see other cliffhangers from a lot of other manga, we have a good idea of what's gonna happen, right? When we read Shokugeki no Soma, we see a cliffhanger. We're like, oh, that's gonna be we see a dish. Then there's a cliffhanger that's like some sort of ingredient. We know the ingredient's going to enhance the dish. Some foodgasm's gonna occur. And then someone will win or lose, right? Like, that's basically what always happens, right? And that way, Shokugeki no Soma is very much so predictable in a lot of ways. And The Promised Neverland doesn't do that. The Promised Neverland doesn't, fuck with us as readers, as intelligent readers. It says, like, we know that you're intelligent readers, and we are going to give you these scenarios that say, like, yo, like, you have to think about how these, characters can get out of their situation based on their skill set, right? Like, so the only way that they'll really get out of that situation is if shit's really real, right? Is if like they manage to like talk their way out of it or come up with some sort of deal or something like that, right? Or prolong like their imminent like death or kicking out of like expelling of like from the shelter, right? So that's stuff that I'm looking forward to. I want to see that. I want to know what happens. I'm really, really interested in chapter 54. That shit's hopefully that shit comes out tomorrow. Whenever it does come out, I really, really want to do a live stream sometime, either tomorrow or Friday. I want to say. Like midday or something like that. I really, really want to do a live stream because like I want, I've been like, chatting with Dustin Reacts in his live streams and all the people like that follow him and all the other people that have YouTube channels and stuff like that. Like, all of y'all are like fantastic. If you're watching this video, shouts out to all of you. Shouts out to Dragonite666. Shouts out to One Vision. Shouts out to Dustin Reacts. Quality stuff. Quality conversations. So I'm looking forward to talking about chapter 54. I'm looking forward to doing a live stream, probably on Friday, maybe tomorrow if The Promised Neverland comes out. And I'm the Black Manga Critic with a review of The Promised Neverland Chapter 53. And I'm out.